Hello, welcome back to the Maya Toolbelt. We're still working on our chandelier. So we got a lot of this interior middle portion done. We probably want to reshape it a little bit with a deform lattice, and we can just kind of play with the shape some. Again, I'm trying to kind of match the reference a little bit. So I think this is not quite out as far. It's a bit more bowl shaped. Something like that. Then we can delete history. We can kind of go back and forth and compare what we think. I think I like the bowl shape like this better. Alright, so what's next? I think we can start looking at our arms here and get them ready to go. We can also kind of fill in this middle section. Let me look at one of my images here, just kind of get a sense of what is in here. So it looks to me like this will come up in like a tapered, like top of a vase type of shape. So this whole thing would kind of be teardrop shaped when it's all said and done. And the top of the teardrop up here will get really skinny through here and attached to the supports that are going to be holding the chandelier up. But before we go through all that, we can look at our arms. Again, none of the images that I have really show this very clearly. So what I think I'm going to do is kind of have them come into like a clasping shape that's just kind of welded to the side of this bar here. That's the idea anyway. So what's the best way to do that? I think we're going to grab these three edges and extrude them. So edit mesh, extrude. It's just going to come out like this. And I think we need to also rotate these vertices so they're not quite so oblong, perpendicular to the body here. So once we have this, we can rotate these like so, extrude these again, and rotate like this. And then we want to reshape this. What we want then to do is kind of follow along with the shape of the arms. Okay, we can also want to kind of start scaling these in because I want this to kind of get tapered toward the tip. Alright, so then we can kind of fill in the rest. Grab these two outer edges, extrude them. Toward the arm. I can get into the habit of being a little too nitpicky on details that no one's really going to scrutinize that closely. And that is part of the skill involved, kind of getting that habit of devoting the appropriate amount of time and detail work to what you're working on. Alright, so I'm going to go to append the polygon under the mesh tools menu, kind of fill that face in that way. Same down here. And then I'm going to kind of fill this in like so. We can hide everything else just so we can kind of see what's going on. Again, append the polygon. Just kind of filling that in. And then we can select this edge loop and go to Mesh, Fill Hole. Fills that hole for us. Grab this face and bevel it. Kind of round that off a little bit. Okay, we can soften this, go Mesh Display, Soften Edge, unhide everything, you just kind of see how that looks. So yeah, it's kind of just coming in, and it's going to seem like it's just kind of welded onto the side of the main bar. We can move this one in, and actually I might want to bevel this loop to get another ring in there. Edit Mesh Bevel. Again, we can go to Mesh Display, Soften. So something like that. Okay, and again, all my pictures that I'm looking at for reference are pretty blurry. They don't really get super close to the arms, but it kind of seems like they have some kind of spiny design things kind of coming off the arms in different areas. And also the base here, it kind of looks like there's some pattern to that. Let me see if I can't look at another picture I have. Yeah, so you can kind of see them here, and it's, like I said, it's hard to see. It's a very pixelated image. It might even help if it's smaller. But just trying to kind of get a sense of these little spiny things kind of coming off of the arms. They're kind of just decorative, you know, nothing too structural about them, I don't think. It's just a matter of how we're going to interpret that, I think. So one thing we could do is just create, let's see, I'm just going to grab some faces that are coming off this underside, like this half of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 faces right here. I'm going to go to Edit Mesh and Duplicate Face. Okay, so it duplicates the faces, and I can pull them off like this. Okay. One thing to know when I do that, and if I select this arm and press up now, there's actually a group that has been created. I can, with the group selected, I can go to Edit, Ungroup to remove that group, because sometimes that happens. I don't really like having these little extra groups around for no reason. Then go to Modify Center Pivot. Kind of scale this in a little bit. And so what I'm thinking of doing is we can edit mesh tools, append the polygon, kind of close this in, and actually go to mesh fill hole, fill all those holes like that, and then let's unhide everything again. Okay, so let's just see how this looks. I'm going to grab this face, edit mesh and bevel. Maybe put a segment in there. And let's go to the, what is it? Right view. This works. So from this view, I'm going to create a little short curve. So create curve tools, CV curve tool. I'm just going to kind of create a little curve like that. So I'm going to grab this face, shift select that curve, edit mesh, extrude, and then I'll increase the divisions. And then I can, over here in the channel box, whoops, wrong button. Scroll down here to taper. We can kind of taper it like this. So we have this little kind of hook coming off of the elbow of this arm. And if I grab that curve, there's still history, so I can grab the control vertices and move this curve around and kind of make this a little bit more hook shaped. Something like that. And I can delete the history now. And let's go ahead and bevel these edges. We can bevel this face here, kind of round it off. And maybe we just smooth it and see what it looks like. So that's just this thing sticking off of the elbow there. And remember, we're going to be looking at it from this kind of distance. So if with the black background, you can see better the profile shape. I can even go to lighting and use flat lighting. Again, so we just see that profile. So you can kind of see a little hook coming off of there. That kind of adds some dimensionality to it. So a little bit of detail like that. So I think we'll just maybe just do that. We'll grab this little piece and I'll unsmooth it for now. I'll go ahead and mesh display and soften edge. Maybe we just kind of put this around, like copy it around a few places. So I'm going to duplicate this. Maybe put one right here, like almost like it's nesting with another one. Just got to kind of see what it looks like. And again, I'm just kind of going off of the image, seeing what kind of looks decent and not forgetting that we're not going to see it from, a really far distance. So that's the kind of impact this little piece is going to have, which is, pretty good impact. Instead of just being a snaky arm, we have these little bits coming off of it. And if you, again, looking at the picture, you can barely tell what those bits are, but you can see that they're there and they're adding something to the picture. So again, I'm just going to kind of duplicate this one and I'm going to spin it around 180 degrees. So now we can have one kind of coming off of, almost looks like a tongue, coming off the top here. We can grab another one, duplicate it, and I'm going to spin it around this way. Let's go ahead and I wonder if this will look good on the end of this. We can play with the scale of it and everything. Again, we can't forget about the distance that we're going to see from it. So I can add a couple more on here. Maybe do over here. Just these kind of leaf shapes. Play with the scales a little bit. And what we're eventually going to do is have some kind of very shiny brass kind of material on this. And we're very reflective also. So it's going to kind of hide a lot of the intersecting that's happening. Put one over here on this arm too. And again, I'm not really following the reference and where these things are. I'm just kind of playing with it. And this is where I'm kind of going off of the, going away from the reference, just kind of doing what looks good, doing just something that looks interesting. So here we're starting to kind of see that, how that affects the profile again from a distance, because this is how close we're going to be, you know, if even that close. So I might even, let's go ahead and just continue with this, like maybe make a third one that's like larger. So we could just keep on going with that as long as we wanted to. But for now, let's go ahead and call it kind of done. I'll make sure. I might want to actually bring this a little closer in. We don't want it to bring too big of a gap here. We want it to kind of seem like the metal has been welded on. Okay. Again, you can go too far with some of these little details like that. So let's go ahead and save this. And let's duplicate. Let's grab this, all the stuff that's involved with this arm over here. Control G to group it. Control D to duplicate. -1 in the scale X. So we get the other one over here. So now we can go to Edit, Ungroup, and I'll go ahead and grab the first one and ungroup it as well. So this is kind of our arm piece. So we can grab all the components of that arm now, group it, duplicate it, hold J while we rotate it to 45 degrees, and then Shift D to duplicate the rest. So now we have, with all those little bits and bobs kind of attached to it, we've got a bit more of a complex looking thing. Change the background back to something. It says, here's our chandelier so far. We can turn on a wireframe one shaded so you can kind of see everything there. So again, a lot of this was made using symmetry. You know, you're creating one arm and duplicating it around for all the rest. And for like these central shapes, we've created like a quadrant of it that we then duplicated around and merged all together for the rest of it. So I think the last few videos have been kind of long. We got a lot done here. Looks looks like we got some work done. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and for the next video we're going to continue up with this center portion to kind of fill in the middle here. We have a second row of lights that we're going to fill in, and also move on with the supports up to the ceiling, and hopefully get this chandelier done pretty soon. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying the video. Like, subscribe, or comment. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.